This is a beginning drawing lesson for my friend Frijoles, who wants to learn to draw, and I assured him that I can teach him to draw. But first I wanted to talk about what is a drawing. A drawing can be many things, but I have a feeling about a drawing that I wanted to tell you about. I know that some people think they can't draw because they think that the drawing should look maybe like a photograph. It should be very realistic. But I do think that the very first time you could uncap a marker or grab a crayon and put a mark on a paper, that you were drawing. I think you were drawing then, and more so, I think you knew what that drawing meant. Maybe people around you didn't know what the drawing meant, and if you were able to talk at such an early age, you might have been able to explain what was on your mind. But nevertheless, you were drawing. And that's a significant form of expression. I think eventually we all learn to write and express our ideas through written language, but that drawing was your first written language. You knew what it meant, and as we grow up, we learn consensus, which means we all agree that certain things mean something. If I did a picture of an arrow, no matter what language we all spoke or read, we would know that arrow means that direction. There's a direction. There's certain other universal symbols that we all recognize. Stop signs, octagonal shaped stop signs. But when you were first starting out as a human being, you were drawing. I don't want you to ever think that that expression is less important or vital than written language or than somebody else's drawing style. It would be silly for you to study how to draw like me any more than it would be for me to learn to draw like you. It's just not the point. Your expression, your drawing is your personal language expression. So, what could it look like? I'm gonna start with some marks, just putting marks on paper. And at this point, I think the camera might want to point down so that I can show you the table. So any mark that you start to put on a paper can have its own life and its own expression. And this might be a drawing of a feeling, or it might be a drawing of something else that I have in my mind. So let's say I wanted to draw a cat. You might notice that I'm holding the pencil in a different way than if I were writing a word. And for me, that's a great way to begin as an artist because it means I'm already treating the pencil as a tool for a different form that's coming out of my consciousness. I'm not trying to make a hard mark. This is the letter T, and I know it makes a T sound. There's a different way to hold a pencil. It's very intentional. Right now, I'm holding it on its side because, one, I can't put so much pressure on it, so my lines are going to be lighter, which means if I decide I want to erase anything, it's going to be easy to erase, right? So I'm putting down some marks, but I'm thinking cat. I'm thinking cat, and now I'm just going to decide, where is this going? Is this really a drawing of a cat? Well, you know what? Maybe it is. In my consciousness and my feeling and what I wanted to draw, this is a cat. And somebody else looking at this picture may see a cat, or they may not. And that's not an issue. Your drawing belongs to you. It's your expression. And it's what comes out from your mind, your heart, your memory, through the skill of your hand. I could go back with the intentional position on this pencil grip. Now I haven't looked at a cat to do this drawing, but believe me, I've been living with cats for a long time. I pretty much have seen them more than once every day of my life. So I'm basically drawing what I call a map of a cat. A map means this is a little tiny note that I've stored in my brain that says, oh, a picture of a cat. If I was going to draw a picture of a face, I might do this. Is it a picture of a particular person? Maybe not, but it is a map of a face. It's got the right features and the right organization and the right proportion and scale, but it's not really a portrait of somebody. This is a map of a face. These both are drawings, but they serve different purposes. What I would like to show you, and show frijoles, of course, one is to not be afraid of your personal expression. It is as dignified and as important to the world as whatever you can write with your alphabet letters. And I believe maybe it's more important because it comes from a very original place. There is this type of drawing that comes from within, and there's also observational drawing. I think that's what people want to think about when they think about, I want to learn to draw. They want to learn to draw something that they're looking at, so their drawing looks like that thing. I wrote down a map because these are notations of memories of what we think of as a drawing of a cat and a drawing of a face. They're not unique or individual or done from observation. The next type of drawing I'm going to show you is called observational drawing. And it doesn't have a hard line. It's kind of a study. It's kind of a work drawing. But for that, I'm going to need a new piece of paper and an object to draw. This is a dragon horn. It's one of my ceramic students' projects from clay level 1. And I'm going to start drawing him by looking at him. And what I'm hoping to do is train my eye to simply tell my hand what to do. This is a skill. It can be learned. This has nothing to do with talent. This is observational drawing. Right now, I can tell that this is a long object. I need a long shape on my paper. He's sort of triangular, so I'm going to analyze that shape and try to do a light triangle. Again, I'm holding the pencil on the side so that I can't put too much pressure on that point. It's actually impossible to press too hard because as you press down, the pencil pokes up. It makes it very easy to erase your lines. At the bottom, I see that this is a curved line where the base of that dragon horn meets the table. I am trying to draw what I see, not what I think I see. It's very analytical. I'm going to go back up more than halfway up. This is where these wings stick out kind of at an angle. I'm just going to kind of put them in there, sort of like a tilted cross. They're sort of spoon-shaped, those wings. They're pinches of clay. They're not regular. I don't want to draw them as if I thought they were a wing. I'm not going to draw them like that. That's not how they look. So, observational drawing, the reason it's so successful as a learning tool is because you're creating a new skill set. Here's this one fat little arm sticking up. It goes around the side of his body. It sticks out a little bit there. I can see this line that goes down into the crook of his arm. You see how I've done that there? I'm going to erase one little line. It's easy to do because these lines are light, so that you can see how this arm goes around. Small details like that tell your eye something's happening there that's 3D. This is not a flat cardboard cutout. This is a 3D object. And it's made by hand, so it's not a perfectly straight line. It's kind of like wobbly looking. I see there's a lot of room here from the base of that cone shape to where the tail comes up. That tail sticks out quite a bit. It is a very big 3D object. And the tip of it broke off because it fell down from a very high place in the studio. Now I'm going to go back up here and put another arm in that hangs down the side. Also curves around in front of that dragon's tummy a little bit. Not too much. Sort of comes around the side like that. Here's his neck. There's some spikes sticking out of his neck. And here's his little mouth. These dragon horns, if you kind of make trumpet lips and put your mouth on that dragon's mouth and blow in hard, he's going to make some terrible wonking noise. If the clay has gotten stuck in the throat of the dragon and he doesn't make a wonking noise, well, I wouldn't give you full points for your dragon sculpture, but he's a dandy incense holder. You can stick incense right in his little mouth and put him next to your picnic table in the summer, and he'll keep the mosquitoes away. Here, this ear is drooping down. And there's something up here that I can see. Maybe you can't see it from your angle on the camera, but there is a little horn that sticks up there. Okay, I'm going to erase some of the overlapping lines so you get an idea of where the 3D forms are. And then I'm going to tell you just two things, maybe only one thing, about an observational drawing. Just like the first drawings you learned to do, there's no wrong answer here. This is a drawing, it's an exploration, and it's your language. It's your marks that tell the world how you see this, how you interpret it, and how you express it. It doesn't belong to anybody else but you. It's your drawing, and I hope that you can honor it and respect it as a valuable artifact of your consciousness, of your intelligence. The second thing I want to tell you about an observational drawing is that they never really look terribly finished. They all have these extra lines and corrections and erasure marks and parts that you were looking at something and you were learning something as you were drawing. It's a very different drawing than trying to put down a correct line the very first time you touch the paper. An observational drawing is a study. It's a work drawing. Anybody can do it. It's a learnable skill. More on that some other lesson. I hope you enjoyed this beginning to draw lesson. Frijoles, I will draw with you anytime you like. Take care, everybody.